It is time, friends. The time has come to enhance our perception. We shall gain the ability to know things that are otherwise unknowable. It is time to rub the dust off our balls, our crystal balls. For we shall gain access to the extrasensory perception.
In other words, we shall create an ESP hack. You may have guessed it, ESP stands for extrasensory perception. First, let me show you the result. On the top left, you can see a basic menu, nothing fancy, but it does the job. More interesting are all those aliens and all those rectangles. So many rectangles. And as a little bonus, we can also see the current health of all those lovely creatures. My job now is exterminate them. So see you after the intro.
But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
That's a hacking group we've been reporting on that's claimed responsibility for recent attacks.
Alright, before we start hacking we need a plan. And the plan is as follows. First, create an internal or external overlay. We have already covered that topic. If you have not seen it already, I highly recommend watching my video on internal hack menu linked above. Second, we need the coordinates of all allies and enemies. In other words, we need the entity list. Third, we need to convert those coordinates from 3D game to our 2D screen. Typically, this conversion is called world to screen function, so let's stick with that. Fourth, taking those 2D vectors, we need to draw those red and green rectangles onto our screen. Sounds like quite a bit of work, doesn't it? Well, that's because it is. In this first part, we will only learn how to get the entity list. First thing, let's find our player base address. That isn't too hard. Master Chief has a shield which does recharge after some time, so let's look for that value. It is probably a float and its max value is probably 1, so let's look for that. Then hurt ourselves and look for decreased value, etc. After we have found that address, let's find out what accesses this address. Here we can see a bunch of instructions all accessing ESI with offset E4. So E4 is the offset of the shield and ESI is the player base address. Let's hit show disassembler and set a breakpoint on the instruction. The breakpoint gets triggered and instantly we can see the value of ESI. Now we remove the breakpoint and resume the game. Let's make a new scan and look for the value of the player base pointer. So here we set the value to 4 bytes and hex. This gives us a list of locations where the player base pointer is currently stored. What we are looking for is a list or an array where all the entity pointers are stored. So naturally, we would have to go through all the results and check out what kind of stuff is stored in that area. Of course, I know which one is of interest, so I will save you some time. We right-click the last address and hit browse this memory region. In the bottom window, let's set the display type to 4-byte hex. Now here it becomes quite interesting. We have a very long list. We can be pretty sure that 4 bytes are pointers to objects cause the values look like pointers pointing to something near the memory region where the player base address is. But there are also 8 other bytes between every entry of those 4 bytes, which may contain interesting information related to those entities. Let's just keep that in mind for now and carry on. Enough playing around with Cheat Engine, it's time to fire up Reclass to get a better look at some of those supposed entities. Let's start with the Master Chief pointer. Let's put that one in and insert a ton of bytes. We already know that the shield is a float and at offset E4, so let's set that one to float and name it. And since we are already here, we notice that the value above the shield looks like it could be the health, so let's mark that one as health. What we really want to know though is the entity's location. So let's keep Reclass open, go back into the game, move around a bit and check if we can see some values changing in Reclass. Indeed we can. So let's mark that one as vec3, which is a vector containing x, y and z, as floats. But we also can see some other values changing as well. We mark those as vec3 and comparing the two found vectors, we notice that only the c value is slightly different. So first educated guess is that one vector is for the head and the other one is for the feet of the entity. Now that we have a class in reclass, let's grab another pointer from our supposed entity list and plug it in. As we can see, the values do make sense. We can see meaningful float values for the coordinates. Very good. If we hit project generate C++ code, we get a C++ class containing all the information we gathered. Now let's start coding. We start with the code provided from the internal menu video. Let's make one addition before we start with our entity list. When we stop our main loop, we should unhook the endScene function to avoid crashes. We can do this by calling the detour remove function, passing byte pointers to our trampoline as well as the detour function. Now we create a new header file and call it entity. Here we paste the code reclass created. But C++ does not know vector3, so let's create another header file and define some vector structs. Now we include this header in the entity header and the errors are gone. Back in our main file, it is finally time to load the entities. First, let's create a global variable containing a pointer to the start of the array. But hang on a second, what is the start of the array? Well, to figure that out, we can do the usual. We grab some address from the memory within the array, search for it, find out what accesses this address. Now here we see some interesting instructions. Let's investigate. Toggle a breakpoint. Now we can see that EBX contains a pointer that is probably the array space address, and EDX is probably the index of the element which we grabbed from the list. But on top of that, 8 is also added, so let's not forget about that when we go to looping through the memory space. Now let's create a new function returning a vector containing the pointers to the entities. One thing we do not know is how long the list of entities actually is. But what we do know is that after the list ends, there is a whole bunch of zeros. It can also happen that there are zeros inside the list. So what we do is create a zero counter. Whenever we encounter a zero at some address, we increase the counter, and when the zero counter becomes big, we stop our loop. Now inside the loop, what we want to do is go through the space in memory starting at the top of the table. But we do not want all the values, remember? There are 4 bytes storing the entity base pointer, followed by 8 bytes storing something else. So what we can do is add 12 to the base pointer and multiply it by our iteration variable. Cast that address to a uint pointer and dereference it. And let's not forget to add another 8, just like we saw in the opcode. Now if that value is not 0, we can then cast that pointer to a pointer of type entity and add it to our vector. If the value is 0, we increase the fail counter. In our main loop, let's add a new if statement. If we press numpad 0, we call our new function, and afterwards we go through the loaded entity list and output all the information we gathered. Now let's create a DLL, inject it into the game, press numpad 0, and here we go. A very long list containing all the information we need. Actually, it contains more information than we need, but more on that in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I will try to publish the next part of this series as soon as possible. Until then, friends. Oh yeah, one last thing. Thanks to all of you who joined the Discord server already. I love you guys. If you haven't yet, feel free to join us. Link is in the description. Take care. Talk to you soon.